Hello everybody, it's Larry. Welcome to today's video. We've got an important one for you, one that you need to watch to the end, and also you're going to want to pass this around to your friends and the people in your genealogical societies, because we're going to talk about something very, very important, and that is why you should not copy and paste information into your tree. So I'm going to show you my tree, and we're going to show you the errors in it, and we're going to show you how they could and should have been avoided them, and why you should not copy and paste. So we're going to start by going to Family Tree Maker, and that's where I do my tree, and we're going to talk in particular right here about Emma Jane Boatman and her father Otis, and mother, as I have it right now, in Martha and McCarter. Now, it's a little easier to see over on Ancestry. So right here at the bottom, you see Martha and McCarter right here, and Otis Boatman, and I have it with Emma Jane. But now, when I connected Treva Marie to Emma Jane over on Family Search, look what happened. So I connected Treva to Emma Jane, and the rest of this was already out here on Family Search, and it says Emma Jane Boatman was the daughter of Jasper Otis Boatman and Fanny Ellen Collins. And that should show you right there one of the reasons why you can't copy and paste. So let's look at it a little more. And we see right here, Jasper Otis Boatman married to Fanny Ellen Collins, and there's my Emma Jane Boatman with Ewing and Riddy. Now, some of the supporting information that's out there that talks about Fanny and Otis. Well, here's got Otis, born April 18th, 1883, in Melbourne, Izzard, Arkansas. Died in 1956, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So first we want to see, is this indeed my person? April 18th, 1883, Melbourne, Izzard, Arkansas, and died 1956, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So we can establish that this is indeed the same person. Now, what we're going to see also is we're going to see it document and say the survivors include his children, Miss Emma Collins and Ewing Boatman, and the rest of them listed. And it's going to show the mother, Fanny Collins. All right, and for Fanny Collins right here, it's also going to document married to the same Otis Jasper Boatman, and therefore we know that there's an error. We already know that there's an error, and we don't want to propagate mistakes in trees, so we're going to have to make some changes. But before we make changes, we need to get all the information. So right here it says Emma Jane Boatman, born in 1904. She's born in January of 1904. And so what we want to do is look in the first census after she was born. The first census after she was born would be the 1910 census. So here we go. 1910 census, we have Jasper Otis O. Boatman and Fanny Ellen, and got the E there, Collins, who married Boatman. And there's Emma Jane, and there's Ewing, and there's Riddy. Well, now let's just kind of double check things. So the parents were both born in Arkansas, and the kids were born in Arkansas, and both their parents born in Arkansas. So we've pretty conclusively shown that there is an error in the tree, and that is why you cannot copy and paste. Because if you were to be copying and pasting, if you came out here and you were using Emma Jane Boatman connected to Fanny Collins, you would be wrong. That's right, this tree is wrong. And I've already shown it to you in several places, well, two in particular, and there's 3 or 4 pieces of supporting information that you've already been shown in this video to prove that Fanny Collins is not the biological parent for Emma Jane Boatman. So, well, let's look at these pieces of information, all right? So the first one we said was the 1910 census. But Larry, there it is, clearly, Fanny E. and Jasper O., right? Parents, daughter, son, daughter. Well, that's what it looks like at first glance, and that's why you have to pay attention to the very fine details of stuff. Just because somebody has it in their tree, just because they've put the censuses as supporting information, just because on the first glance it shows Fanny E. and Jasper as the parents of Emma Jane, you can't accept it at face value. So let's look at the rest of the census. Right here it says marital status, M2, M2. M2 means this is their second marriage. Now sometimes you'll see like an M1, M2, or M2, M3, or M2, M4 if they've been married multiple times. And so here they each have one previous marriage to this marriage between the two of them. All right? That's a huge clue that something might be amiss. But this is where it really gets certain. See right here, it says years married, and it says pop-up says years in present marriage 2. Now this is a 1910 census. They've been married for 2 years, which means they got married in 1908. And since they've been married 2 years, Yoon is 4 years old and Emma Jane is 6, which is much older than the 2 years that they've been married. Furthermore, it says Fanny Ellen Collins has had 2 children born to her. 1 is living. Now, this one is 3 months old, and it's within the last 2 years, and we can pretty much determine that that is her living biological child. We also can tell that there was 1 that's not living. All right, but there's 3 children listed here. There's 1 that she has that's living. So that wasn't a 3 to a 1 or a mistake there. So what is the right answer? Well, we've got the information. They were married in 1908, and that was the first clue. And we saw it over here. Look, you're right there. It says marriage, March 25th, 1908, with Emma Boatman, 1904, and Ewing Franklin, born January of 1906. So when we first came over here on this and we looked at the profile page, the first clue is staring us right in the face that, they got married in 08, but these children were born in 04 and 06. The second clue we had was here in the obituary that it listed the children. So right here it says Otis Boatman, and we said, well, here's the marriage to Fanny Collins. But now looky here. Survivors include as children Emma Collins, Yoon, Tommy, Rita Jones. Now, that was who we had in the census. We had Rita, Yoon, and Emma that were in the census. So we had the same people. But notice if we scroll down to the children, Cecil, Rita, Ivy, she's not in there. Neither Emma nor Yoon are in this list. And we know that they were born in 1904 and 1906. So it's not that they haven't passed away, because they would be 116 right now. So why are they not listed? Well, because of the whole concept of, well, they're not really children. They're step brothers and sisters, not the children of Fanny. So the fact that they're not the children of Fanny was actually evidenced here. So why it looked like this was supporting evidence that Fanny was the spouse to Otis, which she was, and they had lots of children together. But for Emma and Yoon, there was actually a different parent, as we're going to find out here. So there's Yoon, there's Emma, and we know that they were before the marriage. So now let's get in. We have to document the marriages. There were 3 marriages involved, 1 between Jasper and Fanny, 1 between Fanny and someone else, and 1 between Otis Jasper and someone else. So let's look at those and confirm the information. So first, we have the marriage between Fanny and Jasper. And that was in 1908, which matches this. In 1910, married 2 years, 1908. All right? And so we have, March 23rd. Now, in the Find a Grave, we see that the child that died in 1909 was Cecil. And we see that he's born in February 1st of 1909. And so if they were married in March of 1908, then him being born in February was 10 months later. So he did not have an affair, get her pregnant, leave his wife to go be with her. We've pretty much disproven that at this point because the first child, and we know she's only had 2 children born to her. 1 is alive. If there had been a third that would have happened back then she would have had 3 born alive and 1 alive now or 2 alive now. So we know that didn't occur. So there's the marriage between Jasper and Fanny. So now let's look and find the other marriages. Now here is Fanny and her first marriage to Charles Britton. And she was married February of 1906, which is kind of interesting because Jasper and Martha, who I said was Martha, we haven't proven it's Martha yet, were having their second child in January of 1906 when she was a month later having the most exciting time of her life, getting married to the person she loved, which was Charles Britton. All right? So, and she wasn't pregnant with him or have any children with him during this marriage, because if she had, then they would have shown as the number of children born, etc. And we know that Cecil was actually born to Otis and Fanny, all right, because of the year and when their marriage was. So now the next question is who, and that's the key question, who is the true mother of Emma Jane Boatman, and who was the previous spouse who is marriage one for Jasper Boatman, who Emma and Yoon would be biologically related to. So again, looking through the marriage certificates, we find that Otis Boatman was married to Martha Ann McCarter there in Izard, Arkansas in 1903, in March of 1903. And 9 months later, Emma Jane was born. So wedding night or very shortly thereafter, Martha became pregnant and gave birth 9 months later to Emma Jane. And 2 years later, she gave birth to Ewing Franklin. Okay? So she was 16 when she got married. She had her baby when she was 17. And then 2 years later, at 19, she had another baby. And before her age of 21, or about the age of her 21, she was dead. And so I'd always thought that she had died in childbirth. And so it was really hard for me to find some of the marriage certificates and stuff. But now that I took a look backwards and looked at this differently, it kind of stood out. So now we have all the evidence here. We've got marriage to, they've been married for 2 years. That was a big determiner that they weren't together. The fact that there was 2 children born and 1 living, and that would be 1 living right here, and there's 3 kids, that was hint number 2. Because there was the 2-year marriage, we have the marriage certificate, and also over here, clue number 3 that says they were married in 1908 with she was born in 04 and 06. So we had 3 giant clues to tell us right away that this is not correct. And so people that are putting this into trees like this, copying them over onto Ancestry, are perpetuating bad trees because of copy and paste. It's only through diligent research and finding out all the marriages that were involved for Otis Jasper and calling into question all the fine details. Now, it looked like it was correct. Remember when we first started, you know, we have the marriage between Jasper and Fanny. We have the children listed. We also have it over here. We have Fanny as the spouse for Otis, and it lists Emma. And we have a census that had Fanny and Jasper and listed Emma. So it all looked on the surface like it was okay. But it wasn't until we started examining that data with a little more scrutiny that we were able to find out that it was different. So one last thing before we conclude this video is looking here at the birth date for Cecil Boatman, February 1st of 1909. And down here, look at the death date for Martha Ann McCarter, February 1st, 1909. That was not coincidental. What it means, I still don't know. But February 1st, 1909, at a very young age, and at being the same age that they gave birth to their first child in the next marriage, is not a coincidence. All right? Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. If you're one of those people that spilled your drink on New Year's, I told you it was going to happen. Click that red subscribe button. Don't forget to click the bell notification next to it. That way, I mean, come on. If you spilled your drink and you haven't clicked subscribe, you don't want anything else to happen this year. So sign up to YouTube. Click that subscribe button. Don't even take a chance. It's not worth it. But seriously, if you click the bell notification and you're using mobile, don't forget to enable notifications for YouTube or you still won't get notified. And anytime they do an iOS update, sometimes there's a good chance that they may reset those notifications and you have to go and re-permit them again. So, you know, if you're not getting a notification and you have already clicked the bell, double check that you have YouTube enabled to send you the notifications. Also, I'm asking you, why don't you become a sustaining member by joining our channel right here below every video. There is an option here to join. If you click join, it will bring you up, pop up that says all the different levels that you can join at. We got bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, and diamond. And we have several members at each right now, and thank you all for signing on board, because it's your support that helps keep this channel going. If you want to see more videos like this about why you should not copy and paste trees, or the other topics that we have coming forward, then consider joining and becoming a subscribing member. And I'm going to recommend you join at the silver level. That's probably the best place for perks, unless you want to pick a video topic each month, in which case I recommend you join at the gold level. By doing that, you enable me to do more things for you. We have a bigger voice because more people have subscribed. So I was able to talk to MyHeritage, and MyHeritage gave you some gifts, a free year subscription to one person and a free DNA kit to another, and gave everybody for over a month a discount code that gave 50% off of unlocking their tools. So, by giving me a bigger voice, then I continue to do more and more things for you. But so consider going out there and joining the channel, because it does a lot of good. One of the things we have coming up that you're going to want to be a part of, and another reason why you should join, is with the clustering video. Now, the clustering video has had over 65, almost 70,000 views now, and people are clustering their DNA and finding great things through that. But some people are still confused, and after they've clustered, they're like, what now? So one of the videos we have coming out very soon is what to do after you've clustered. That's something no one's done yet. There's been a few videos. We led the way in showing how to cluster using the dots on Ancestry, and there's a lot of information out there on clustering, but there's not a whole lot in the logic process behind the scenes to determine that. And just like in the example here, where Fanny Ellen Collins was married to Jasper Otis Boatman, well, Fanny was the sister of Harlan. And if you're doing DNA, even though Fanny was the stepmother of Emma Jane, she was the stepmother and also sister-in-law. And because of that, Fanny is going to show DNA to the descendants, even though it won't, because it's really up through Harlan and this side. But descendants are going to show DNA from Otis Jasper, Martha McCarter, and Fanny, even though Fanny wasn't biologically related to Emma, because her husband was biologically related to Fanny because of an intermarriage into the family. Not a DNA crossover, because Emma doesn't have any of Fanny's blood, but because her spouse was the same as her stepmother's, and that's going to confuse people down the road. So how to look at that DNA and how to determine what's correct, what's not correct, and spot those. That's one of the things we have coming up for you in the not so distant future. So help me help you. Subscribe to the channel, and I hope you had a wonderful holiday, and I hope you had a great ringing in of the year 2021. This is the first one of 2021, and this is the first of many good ones to come. With your help, we'll have a lot more coming out really soon, and we look forward to talking to you again.